to Create Your Own Economy with Bunmi Ajibade, the podcast that empowers corporate professionals ready to break free and transition into entrepreneurship with confidence and clarity, as well as business owners looking to grow and scale their businesses. If you're exhausted from building other people's dreams, leaving you little time or energy to focus on what truly matters to you, you are in the right place. Each week, we provide actionable strategies, expert interviews, and real-life success stories to help you turn your ideas into thriving business. Ready to take bold, clear steps toward life and business you deserve? Let's get started. What if I told you that someone built a luxury brand from the ground up with just 40 pounds? And to even extend that, she had no contact list. So she had nobody. But I know what you are thinking. Luxury brand, 40 pounds, won't even buy an item in a luxury store. Yes. Today, I have my very good friend Elizabeth Solaru, who will really talk about how she turned her passion and creativity into a thriving luxury business. And as I said, with zero contacts, little money, but I know she will say a lot of hustle. Hello everybody, I am your host Bunmi Ajibade, and welcome to Create Your Own Economy podcast. Today I'm so thrilled to have Elizabeth Solaru, the founder of Elizabeth's Cake Emporium, and who has successfully built luxury business brand from the scratch. She has also helped countless businesses in the luxury sector discover and connect with their dream clients. Elizabeth, welcome to Create Your Own Economy podcast.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here, and I can't wait for us to dive into this conversation.
Yes, I cannot wait. You know, I tried to put together some of what you have done and all that. I don't know how many pages, so I had to choose, few things. So let me say a little thing about Elizabeth. She went to school. So she went to school, a lot of school. And she is a business coach and a strategist. She was a former headhunter, a career coach and trainer of CEOs, chairpersons, non-executive directors, and C-suite executives, working with organizations as JP Morgan, the NHS, the Cabinet Office, the Association of MBAs, and so many. She teaches small businesses in the luxury sector how to find their dream clients. And as someone who has successfully built a real luxury business brand through her sheer work and creativity, she is certainly not just an ordinary coach or consultant. She is the real deal. And she has collaborated with many luxury brands, including Harrods. If you have been to England, you know that store, Oscar de la Renta, and Fendi. For those of you in the luxury brand, you know what those you know those companies. She has been called a pioneer in the industry and her work has appeared in Vogue, Tatler, Hello, Martha Stewart, Wedlocks, and The Telegraph. She has also had personal appearances on BBC, Sky Living's childhood being a billionaire, and she has consulted on films such as Sonny Columbia's My Best Friend's Wedding. This woman is busy. Busy. And I found also that she is the host of Luxury Business Podcast. And I listened to some episodes. She's an advocate of maternal health and actively fundraises for Genes charity. Above all, she's a woman after my own heart because she loves party jollof rice, meat, and fried plantain. So for those of you listening, if you know, you know. That's a secret between us. And also she read microbiology in college. Am I right?
Yes, absolutely.
I read microbiology in college. So Elizabeth, again, welcome. Welcome to Create Your Own Economy podcast.
Thanks so much for having me. Thank you.
So share with us, where and how did all this start? If you could look back as far as when, growing up, what prepared you for this time in your life?
Okay, my parents met when they studied. They both came to study in the UK. So they met then, got married, had me, my brother and my sister. And then when I was about 10, I was taken back to Nigeria with my siblings. And I remember being in school and a school friend of mine gave me a cookbook. I don't know why she gave me the cookbook, but she gave me the cookbook. And in that cookbook was a recipe for Victoria sponge. And in those days, as you know, in a Nigerian household, baking wasn't a thing. And I used to joke that, in fact, our oven was used for storage. So I then took one of my mother's old pots, especially the ones with no handles, because my mom would say, throw that pot away, it's got no handle, it's useless to me. But I would keep, I don't know why, I'll just keep the pot. So I used different pots. And then I realized that different pots gave me different results when it came to baking. But the first time I baked, I must have used the right pot because the cake was perfect. And then I started baking. And after 6 months or thereabout, my mother was like, you know what, you're wasting my gas. There's something here. So anyway, I stopped baking, but occasionally I will still bake. So fast forward to going to university. Of course, in any Nigerian household, education was king and queen.
Yes. Yes.
And so there was no chance for me to say, actually, I'd rather go to catering college. That didn't even factor. I was meant to study medicine, but I couldn't get the maths. I got admission for medicine. I got admission for dentistry on the condition that I got the maths, but I couldn't get the maths. So I then studied microbiology, and then I did my master's, medical microbiology and parasitology at the College of Medicine in Lagos, and then came to the UK when I was about 22, came to the UK, and I trained at St. Mary's Hospital. I became a proper microbiologist. I was so excited because St. Mary's Hospital was where penicillin was discovered. So for me, it was like, oh my God. So I ended up working in some of the best hospitals in the UK. And I would have been content because I love books. I loved microbiology. And I actually started a PhD in microbiology. It was self-funded. I got everything. And then I remember sitting in the lab one day and I thought to myself, there's got to be more to life than being a lab rat. So I thought, you know what, maybe I should do something in business. And I decided, as a Nigerian, again, we do what we do. I decided to do another degree. So that would be my 4th degree or something. So I did a degree, did an MBA. And it was while doing the MBA that through networking, I networked a lot. I mean, I can't even begin to tell you how much I know, because I realized that my science background, there was nothing in my CV that would make people in the city employ me. So while I was networking, I met someone who used to run job hunting workshops for chief executives and very senior leaders, C-suite leaders. So I talked myself onto the workshop because obviously my CV needed work. And then I remember bringing in some of my classmates. I'd even bring them to the workshop because they thought I was the best networker in the world. And eventually, after a couple of years of, throughout the MBA, after I finished my MBA, the same guy then said, you know what, I'm setting up my own headhunting firm. Would you like to work for me? And that's how I started working as a headhunter. And I used to think to myself, oh my God, I've never even run a lemonade stand. And here I am interviewing these multi-million pound budget holding CEOs. So it was while I was working as a as a headhunter, that was when I started baking again. And then I would save my money and I would buy magazines. I mean, I invested in so many baking books. I can't even begin to tell you. And then I would save my money and come to America and go to cake camp. And then I found a particular lady. She was like the creme de la creme of bakers because she used to work at Tiffany's as a designer, but she baked. And then one day her boss saw her creations and said, I want you to bake cakes for our windows. And that was how she was discovered. I mean, she became a big name. So I would write to her. I remember buying her book for the first time. I had to wait for 3 months for the book to be delivered via a bookstore because we didn't have the internet in those days. And when I got the book, I remember emailing her straight away and saying, you've got to teach me. And when she started teaching classes in Florida, I'll save my money and I will go. Every year I would go. And then after I'd been a headhunter for several years, maybe 8 years or more, 2008, the market tanked. As we know, big recession. I was let go from my job. And I just thought to myself, you know what? I reached a milestone birthday. If I don't do it now, I will never do it. And I decided to set up my own cake company. But then I quickly hit a problem. Clients. Where am I going to get clients from? So then I did two things in trying to get clients. And those two things were very pivotal. Now, remember, I only had £40 in the bank. I had a secondhand mixer and I needed clients. And already the coach I had when I was a headhunter, because I had a coach, I remember her looking at because whenever I baked or created something pretty, I'll get a good friend of mine to take photos because instinctively I knew I needed amazing photos. So, and I remember my coach looking at some of the images when I showed her and she said, these are high-end products. And I didn't even know what she meant by high-end products. So I then thought, you know what, I need amazing clients. So one day when I was talking to one of my drivers, because I used to use cab drivers to deliver some of my cakes. Yes. And the cab driver said, oh, we leaflet. And I'm like, what do you mean leaflet? And he explained that his cab office every week would drop leaflets in very nice houses, in very nice neighborhoods, right? Yes. And I said, that's an idea. I said, if I give you some of my postcards, because I had some beautiful postcards made while I was still working as a headhunter. For some reason, I did that, because I didn't even think of starting a bit. So I did that. So I said, if I give you my postcards, would you drop them in only nice neighborhoods? And I mean, really, really nice.
Only nice neighborhoods.
Only nice ones. Because only nice ones. And he said, of course. So he charged me maybe £10 or £20 at the most. So every couple of weeks, they would leaflet. And I knew they had leafleted because I would always get 2 or 3 phone calls. Oh, can you do my daughter's birthday cake or something? So that was nice. But then I thought, you know what? I need to eat and I need to heat my flat because we're talking about me not being able to afford to heat my flat properly. There was a lot of bills piling up. So I then thought, okay, maybe there's something else I can do. So I took the yellow pages because, again, This was way before we had social
media. Before social media.
Before social media became a thing. So I then took the yellow pages, because when I was a headhunter, another firm that I worked for, they made you make 100 calls a week. So you had to make 100 cold calls to try and get meetings in the diaries of chief execs. And that was a skill in itself. So I started calling numbers, all the numbers of event planners, wedding planners, party planners, anybody that did events, I called their number. And for the most part, it was a no. Some people were very polite with their no's. Some people were very rude with their no's. But I persisted. And anyway, that went on. I just called and called and called. And eventually, I happened to call a particular number one day, one afternoon. And that number was the number of Lady Elizabeth Anson, the Queen's cousin, the late Queen Elizabeth, her cousin.
Oh.
And she happened to be the very first party planner in the UK ever, official. And when I called that number, the voice at the other end said, "Do you make cupcakes?" I said, "Yes, I do." And I said, "You know what? I'm going to be in your area in the next 3 days. Can I drop some samples, please?" And she said, "Of course," So 3 days later, I got some amazing boxes, did the samples, dropped the cupcakes, and I left immediately because I didn't want them to think that I was the owner of the company because of a number of reasons. You can guess. But then a lot of that was in my head. Before I got home, while I was still on the bus home, before I got home, I got a call saying, "Lady Elizabeth would like to see you." And I'm like,
what did I do?
So I went back, because I didn't, as at the time I dropped the samples, I didn't even realize that. So she said, "These cakes, incredible. They're amazing. I'm booking you on the spot." So she booked me for 200 cupcakes, gave me a check from a private bank. I had never seen one in my life. So gave me a check. And that was how I got my first order. Now, I know that I made so many mistakes then. I charged way too low. I didn't charge for delivery, but I was so happy just to get an order from somebody like that. And then, now that was a great story. If it had ended there, that would have been amazing. But what then happened was that she then wrote me a letter, an amazing testimonial. And she said, "You can use this testimonial in all your marketing material. I give you permission." And that opened so many doors, so many ways. So that was a key moment in my journey. And another key moment was when I went for a wedding show. While I was obviously trying to build my business, I went for a wedding show, and a camera crew came to film somebody completely different. So they came to film a florist, and they filmed the florist and they left. Then they came back to film another florist beside me because they wanted color. And the first person they filmed, her stand was all white, but they wanted color. So they filmed the girl beside me because her stand was colorful. And I helped her arrange things and blah, blah, blah. And then they left. So because they left, I just went to watch a show. But I remember when I was watching that fashion show, I was like, God, but what about me? People have had their stands filmed. Guess what? I then heard a voice screaming at me, "Elizabeth, they've come back for you. They've come back for you." So I quickly ran back to my stand. And the guy said he just couldn't get the cakes out of his mind. Yes, he came to film flowers, but he just loved my cakes. And that was how he filmed. So he filmed the cakes. He even said, "Can I interview you?" Because he didn't interview the others. He said, "Can I interview?" I said, "Of course." So, so we were talking about cake trends and blah, 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 blah. Now, that would have been an amazing story if it had ended there, because the interview was shown on Wedding TV, and Wedding TV was huge in those days. But the story didn't end there. He then came back to me a few months later and he said, "I have this idea for a cake program. And I said, if you're looking for cake makers, I gave him a list of all the best cake makers in the world, because I didn't even think of myself as a cake maker. Because I didn't think I was, I don't know, maybe like experienced or senior enough.
Wow.
And he said, no. He said, Elizabeth, he said, I want a mixed ability group and I want to include you in the program. Wow. So the program ended up being like a competition where we all pitch and we make cakes to present to couples, and the couples choose whether they like.
I've seen that before. I've seen that show before.
Yeah. So, and he did the program, and on the day of filming, I remember praying to God. I said, God, even if I only win one challenge, because I was entered for 3. I said, even if I only win one, at least that would mean my name will be amongst the winners, blah, blah, blah. So me and the cab driver, I remember again, these cab drivers, they really helped me a lot. So this cab driver, he's not a Christian, but, he was a Muslim. And I remember he prayed as well. I prayed, we prayed together.
Wow.
And he dropped me, and then he said he'll come back. By the time he came back, he said, Elizabeth, I was hearing about you from the gate. He said, I was hearing about the TV show from the gate that apparently you won all 3 challenges hands down. That was, I don't know how it happened, but I won all 3 to the point, and that was my other claim to fame. And that really, really helped my business. So I know what you asked for was, me going back, and I've gone back. This is like going back 20 years of journey.
Yes. I love you walking us through, because there was a show, I did maybe 2 podcasts away, and I was talking about people always see a success story and they say, oh, it's a sudden success. No, it's not. It's been in the making for a very long time. There's always a story, but from what you have said, preparation. And this is what, when we coach, this is what we coach people to, preparation, because you never know when that client, when that thing that you need will be right there in front of you. So we need to be prepared every time. You might think, as you thought, your preparation is like, oh, I'm just new. Mine might not be as good, but at least you were prepared. That was why the cake you presented to that lady was the best. And also you were prepared. Your when you went for the show, your stand was good. That is the thing. And there's something I always say: when something comes to you, when an opportunity knocks on your door, it's too late to prepare. Yes. When an opportunity knocks on your door. So for those of you in my tribe that, for those of you listening, I know you have heard this before. When an opportunity knocks on your door, it's too late to prepare. So give yourself time to prepare, even if you don't think the preparation is the best, because we will not get to our best the first year, the second year. We are going to grow, right? There's a process. So thank you for sharing your process. So Elizabeth did not just wake up and she's like this. She went through a process. I can imagine somebody who is about to go for PhD in microbiology now becoming a baker. So identifying what it is that you're passionate about, how you serve people. You can serve people as a microbiologist, but you eventually found what fills you up, what sets your soul on fire. And I know, to tell a Nigerian parent that you want to go to baking school, no.
They will call the family meeting, and once your family meeting is called on your head, that's it.
Bit. And they will put you on prayer and fasting, take you to church, put you on prayer and fasting that something is happening, and then mother will cry, what did I do wrong? Stuff like that. But I'm really very, very happy, for your journey. So you said that success did not come easy, that you learned the hard way from some mistakes that you made as you were building, the highs and the lows and all that. So what are some of the biggest challenges you faced when you started the business?
Several, but I'll just focus on a couple. So the first one was obviously clients. So finding the right clients, and because for a number of years, I didn't go into the high-end market. I was trying to shoehorn myself and my products into the middle market. So I was winning. I remember that time I was winning about 90% of all my pitches. And I thought, oh my God, a lot of people are buying from me. But the problem was I wasn't charging enough. So that was why to them, it was like, oh my God, we're getting all this for not very, to them, it may have been a lot of money, but so the pricing was something that I definitely made a mistake with. And I go into more detail in my book, because I tried every pricing model until I hit upon the right pricing model for me, because pricing is a massive part of your business model as a luxury brand. So pricing, then getting the right clients. It took me a while as well to realize that you need to niche within the niche. So luxury clients, high-end clients are a niche, but you need to even niche down a bit more. And that's because luxury clients are not all the same. Yes, you might assume that they all have money, but their relationship with money is completely different. And I use several examples. And one example I use is imagine somebody like King Charles and Ozzy Osbourne. And there's a famous meme going round to say that they're both white male. They've both been married and divorced twice. They both live in castles, and they're both born the same year. So they're the same age. So according to demographics, they're both high-end clients. Therefore, you should treat them the same. But no, if you then dive into psychographics, their relationship with money, their relationship socially, how they spend, why they spend, etc., of which I've explained quite a lot in the book, they are different different people. So the way you treat them as a luxury client has to be completely different. So that I learned, and that is one of the things I'm able to speak about really, really confidently and coach on, because these are mistakes that I have made myself. These are mistakes I've made myself. So I'm very, very keen for other people not to make the same mistakes.
Yeah, I think you are so right. These two things that you mentioned, not only in luxury branding, for every business owner, these are the top 5 of things that we grapple with. Charging. Most people undercharge. And what happens is when you undercharge, you won't even get customers, because the mindset is, I will price myself so that people can afford me.
Exactly.
For most people that really want to buy from you, when they see the pricing, they are like, it must not be good for you to have this price. So they better go somewhere else. Even in our coaching business is the same thing. So really finding that sweet spot, of pricing, it takes a lot of practice, a lot of, until you have your client base, that really, those that know you and know your business. And also the niche. The niche is, it takes us forever, because you have to go through some things for you to get to that. Maybe some people get it the first time, But again, as you said, there's story within the story. Even when you think everybody look the same, no, you can still go deeper to find what is that difference that will make you go with this person over this person. So, finding the right client, I think we all can relate, to that. Now, you also mentioned that you would do some things differently to fast track your progress in business. And I know everybody will want to know, what are some things you think you could have done to fast track your business? We are a microwave microwave generation now. So what did you learn about that?
I definitely would have got a coach much earlier. I definitely would have got a mentor.
Can you raise the volume? Can you raise the volume again on that? Can you raise the volume?
But this is the problem, though. It's not just a matter of getting any coach.
Mm-hmm.
There are thousands and millions of coaches out there. But here's the problem. I remember I still desire a coach and a mentor right now. There are one or two but I still desire a really incredible coach. But here's the problem. It's a two-way thing. You have to see something in the coach, and the coach has to see something in you. It's a relationship. And from my experience, I've had some really good coaches, and I've had some really terrible. In fact, I would say, if I would be very honest, for the major part, a lot of the coaches, some of the coaches have been terrible, not because they're terrible coaches, but they've been terrible for me personally.
Yes.
Because there is something around, the first thing I do as a coach is I look at the person's learning style. I watch you. What's your learning style? Don't give me, because if you give me a gazillion information and you send me to all the videos you've made, I'm not going to watch all that, honestly. Summarize what there are coaches that just tell me one sentence and it motivates me and I just do it. Literally one sentence. Yes. There are coaches I spend 15 minutes on the phone with, and we go 1, 2, 3, do X, Y, Z. That's it. No need for long story.
Yes.
But there are people who want the long story. They want to be walked through. That's fine. But unfortunately, I've had some coaches where it's been, some, rather than say, look, we're not compatible, or we can't do this, or whatever, there's not been that straightforwardness. And there's been a couple of other reasons, as well, because some people, because we're human, right? And we bring our beliefs and our values and our prejudices into every situation. Yes. So this is I'm politely trying to, give reasons why certain things will not work. So, and some people might even feel intimidated by the mentee or the person they're coaching. So if you feel intimidated, but meanwhile, you should realize that that person has come to you for a reason. So if they've come to you for a reason, there is something. So you always find out, why are you here? What is it you think I can do for you?
Yes.
And, what's your learning style? Those are some of the things that you need to flesh out, because this is proper coaching practice.
Yes.
But what you then find is that some people coach because, maybe they've tried to run a business and it's not gone very well and blah, 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 blah. So let me
become a coach. Yeah.
And then they lie. I know people, again, we've seen, the certain school of coaching where they go on private jets, they take photos on yachts and blah, 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 blah. And it's all up front. But unfortunately, many people fall for that. They fall for the oh my God, they're wearing designer, or they're this, or they're that, thinking that is success. Meanwhile, everything is faked.
I've seen it.
I've seen it. Yeah.
Yes.
I remember there was even somebody got exposed on TikTok. This was so funny because he was filming in front of a house, pointing to the house saying, this is my 15th property. I've just bought this. Meanwhile, the owner of the property was filming him from inside the house. So he leased this sports car, parked the car in front of the house.
Yeah.
Then stood in front of the house and was lying. So these are things that we see in the industry. Yeah. So as a coach myself, as someone who's a coach, there are certain bits of groundwork. And also, are you willing to do the work yourself? Are you really willing to do? Because people, if you're not willing to do the work, be honest and say, you know what, I can only do 10 minutes work, then fine. But are you willing to do what it takes? Are you willing to do the work?
Yes.
Yourself. So
very important.
Very important. So those are some of the things that, so if I were to go back again, like I said, the right mentor who's invested in my success, as well as the right coach is mega invested in my success. Because that makes a huge difference. They need to be as invested as you are. They need to see your vision bigger than you.
You see it.
And you see it yourself.
Yes. And they need to believe in you. Yes.
Believe in you. So
Yes. To go back to what you said, definitely. I have asked that question a lot, and people always say, if I will go back, I will get a coach. But now, getting a coach, everybody is a coach now. When you look at something, everybody is coaching here and there, and I have no problem with it. But again, we have to make it about the person. It's a personalized journey. I have paid thousands of dollars to be put in the same box as everybody.
Yeah.
And not taking account of my learning styles, I had to subject myself to the learning style of the coach. And that should be the other way around, So for those of you listening to us, the value of a coach and a mentor in your business cannot be overemphasized. We say this because we know that the value they bring to the business. But as Elizabeth said, finding the right coach. You have to know what you want. And I said it one time, I had to let a client go. She was paying me, but every time we talked, she tells me, this is where I am, this is when I want to go, and then she comes back again. She will say the same thing. She was not doing anything. So, and the next time I said, look, this is my observation, and I might be wrong. I think this is not a good time for you to achieve this goal. So if you have another goal, we can focus on that. If not, I think we need to stop this relationship until you are ready. It's not about you paying me or something. I want you to pay me, but I want you also to achieve your goal. And as I said, so this will be our last conversation. So take some time, think about it, and then come back to me and let's talk. It's over 8 years.
Wow.
That was it. And she's still in the same place. So looking for a coach, it goes both ways. If you are a coach, you don't have to accept a client if there is nothing. If you feel that there is, the two of you don't have anything, you don't feel what she's doing, you don't believe in what that person is doing and all that. So coming from somebody who is successful, she's saying if she had to fast track her progress, she will invest in the services of the right coach. And how will she know the right coach? She will ask questions, not reading about the person. Have conversation and ask questions. And if you want to know more about that, you can go to some of the episodes where I talked about what kind of questions can you ask a coach, and how do you figure out if a particular coach is right for you. So as we round up this session, you said, I believe you don't have to come from a luxury background to sell to luxury clients. All you need is a dream bigger than you can hold, hard work, the right product and service, and with a bit of luck. Now, how would you encourage our listeners who are thinking, oh, I love to buy high-end products, but I cannot see myself, really having a business in that. And then you are saying, you don't even have to buy luxury. That's what you're saying. You don't even have to come from that background to sell. So from your experience, how would you encourage our listeners?
That's actually a fantastic way to round up, because a lot of the high-end brands that we buy from today, the founders did not have a luxury background. Maybe the odd one or two, but a majority did not have a luxury background. So I'll give it 2-3 examples. Louis Vuitton, he walked barefoot to Paris when he was 13 from his village. He walked 300 miles barefoot from his village to Paris when he was 13, arrived at 15, got an apprenticeship with a box maker. And it was in the process of because box makers in those days were very important to the high-end people, because when high-end people want to travel, they'll go to a box maker, make me a box for for travel. And these boxes are what we know today as trunks. But Louis Vuitton was an apprentice. When he arrived in Paris, he was lucky. And I remember I used the word luck. He found favor. He found favor. He got a job with a box maker. But this was what separated Louis Vuitton from the rest. Now, he made 2 observations. Number one, a lot of the boxes had rounded tops. They were not flat like we know them today. So that was observation number 1. Observation number 2, the fabric that was used to make the boxes was usually leather. Leather was the material used. So he then realized, how about if we use canvas? How about if we use other material that is not easily water damaged? And that is how we have the Louis Vuitton classic trunk that is stackable that we have today. So you don't have to come from luxury. In fact, not coming from luxury will make you see things that other people do not see. So your observational skills. I'll use another example. Gucci, the famous Gucci. It was founded by Gucci. Again, he left his family when he was 17. He came from a family that made that do things with leather. They worked with leather, but they were not high-end at all in any shape or form. So he left the family home at 17, came all the way to the UK from Italy, and he started working as a porter at the Savoy Hotel. And he worked there till he was about 23 or I think early 20s. And again, he made another observation. In handling luggage, a lot of the luggage of the wealthy, very elegantly made, very beautiful. And that got him thinking, I can go back to my home country and do something similar. And so he went back to his home country. He then worked for a luxury brand who made goods before starting his own company, his own in Florence. And another thing I'm going to talk about is that these people also set up their brands during a recession. during
Recession.
either during the recession or during world wars. During Chanel set up her company during World War One, and she grew up in an orphanage. Again, imagine the backgrounds of all these people. They didn't grow up with fancy goods. They didn't grow up buying fancy stuff. And then you add Elizabeth Solaru, mixer, secondhand mixer and 40 pounds.
Secondhand mixer.
Also, the one thing I would say about my parents, though, is that my dad always he would buy from either Savile Row or Harrods during the sale. He would buy quality. He always loved buying quality. My mother also had a passion for quality. She loved Irish linen, Egyptian cotton. Again, they're very specific. My parents are very specific. So when it comes to, so it's not a matter of, I love linen. No, it has to be from a certain place. It has to be from a certain time. They were, even when we're talking about, so for example, even perfumes, I remember the first perfume I ever got was Chanel No. 5 from an aunt. And she gave me concentrate. I remember the bottle said, they don't do that anymore. I remember it said concentrate.
Concentrate, whoa.
So it just goes to show that I say this, anybody can sell to luxury clients. Again, people think that when I talk about luxury brands, it means you have to live the luxury lifestyle. No, that's a completely different thing.
That's different.
That's different. That's about spending money and putting on a front. A lot of clients that I sell to, some of them, it will take you 10 minutes to work out the label they're wearing. Because some of them, it will take you 10 minutes because they don't wear logos, but you would know, even if it looks old, right? There will be something about the jacket. I remember seeing a particular client. He had leather patches on the elbows and the jacket looked tattered, but there was just something about the leather. It was just different. And I kept staring. And I said, look, I'm fascinated. Tell me the story of and then he talked about how this was like his great granddad's jacket and he has it, although it's fallen apart and tattered and all that, he has the leather patches, he has them redone and refinished and blah, 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 blah. Again, that's a different type of luxury client.
Of luxury.
Of luxury client. So again, and again, because many of them, they're fascinated by me. They're like, okay, who are you? Tell me about you. And I tell them who I am. I tell them what I've done, blah, 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 blah. And they love me. So this, again, it's about if you know who you are, where you've come from, where you're going, and you have a story to tell, you can really sell to luxury. Anybody can. I truly believe that. And I show you how in my book.
Yes. Thank you so much. Look, the highs and the lows of starting a luxury brand. Elizabeth has taken us through this. She has shared her story, where she came from. And this is what she said. You don't have to come from a luxury home to build a luxury brand. And we're going to go into her book in another episode, and I hope you will look out for that. But what she just said today is that preparation is key. When you want to make a change, when you are thinking of changing maybe from your corporate job for whatever reason, and you are trying to build a business, preparation is key. Preparation is key. And also one thing she said, if you want to fast track your progress, get the right coach or the right mentor. So I want to thank you for joining us in this conversation. We want you to go ahead and write something to Elizabeth, ask questions, and we are going to have Elizabeth's information somewhere in the episode so that you can reach out to her. She has a new book. We're going to put the link there, and we'll see you in the next episode. Thank you for tuning in to Create Your Own Economy with Bunmi Ajibade. I hope this episode gave you the clarity and inspiration to take the next step in your entrepreneurial journey. If you're a corporate professional feeling stuck or unfulfilled, and you are thinking about starting your own business, but find yourself asking, how, what, where, who, or when, I invite you to download my special curated guide, Transition from Corporate Professional to Entrepreneur, the 10-step guide for success. This guide is designed to make your transition smoother and less stressful. Afterward, schedule a clarity call to map out your personalized success path. We invite you to write a review, like, and share this episode with anyone who needs this information. See you in the next episode.